Welcome to day one of our study in the life of the Apostle Paul. Our title today is Saul, a Jew from Tarsus in Cilicia. We'll be reading from Acts chapter 21, verses 37 through 40. As Paul was about to be brought into the barracks, he said to the tribune, "May I say something to you?" And he said, "Do you know Greek? Are you not the Egyptian then who recently stirred up a revolt and led the 4,000 men of the assassins out into the wilderness?" Paul replied, "I am a Jew from Tarsus in Cilicia, a citizen of no obscure city. I beg you, permit me to speak to the people." And when he had given him permission, Paul, standing on the steps, motioned with his hand to the people. And when there was a great hush, he addressed them in the Hebrew language. See if you recognize the opening lines of this play. The name of the town is Grove Connors, New Hampshire, just across the Massachusetts line. Latitude 40 degrees 40 minutes, longitude 70 degrees 37 minutes. The first act shows a day at our town. The day is May 7th, 1901, the time just before dawn. Thus begins the Pulitzer-winning Thornton Wilder play, Our Town. The stage manager narrates this play within a play. He's free to address the audience as well as describing the day-to-day lives of those who live in this town. This town is our town, USA. Those of us who are born and raised in a small town can readily relate to the small town feel of this play. Such is the feel of the relationship of a person to their hometown, their neighborhood, their country. There are people in this world that are easily recognizable by just one name, even if it is a nickname. The singer, Prince. The great baseball player, the Babe. Composers, Beethoven, Bach, and Chopin. How about the Bard, or Old Blue Eyes? Some are simply recognizable by their initials, JFK, FDR, LBJ, or MLK. In the Bible, we have characters that are simply known by one name: Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses. Some are known by their titles: King David, Samuel the prophet, and John the Baptist. Then we have those known by their association with their town or region they were raised: Jesus of Nazareth, Pharaoh of Egypt, and the man to which our study is centered around, Saul of Tarsus. His name instantly identifies him. We might not know why he is named Saul, though one could speculate rather accurately it was from King Saul of the Old Testament, or even where Tarsus is. But we know by those two names who he is. It is Jesus himself who identifies Saul as being from Tarsus, when in a vision he tells the disciple Ananias in Damascus, in Acts chapter 9, verse 11. And the Lord said to him, "Rise and go to the street called Straight, and at the house of Judas look for a man of Tarsus named Saul, for behold, he is praying." Without the aid of the internet, TV, radio, or newspaper, the reputation of this man has already reached Damascus. Saul of Tarsus, feared by the believers for his pursuit of the followers of this new sect called the Way. We could go to the back of nearly any Bible and locate Tarsus in the southeast section of what many maps identify as Asia Minor, and more specifically the region of Cilicia. This city by the sea is identified by Paul as no mean city in the American Standard, King James, and New King James Version. Other translations call it no insignificant city, New American Standard. The NIV calls it no ordinary city. And in our version we read today, no obscure city in the English Standard Version. Josephus, a historian, says it was the metropolis and most renowned among them, the Cilicians. Xenophon calls it a great and flourishing city. Historians record that Tarsus was a free city, meaning a self-governing city with other rights and privileges, including Roman citizenship. Emperor Augustus gave Tarsus its free status for its efforts during the Rome's civil wars. Tarsus' storied history includes visits from Alexander the Great. Antony and Cleopatra met for the first time in Tarsus. It boasted a library of some 200,000 books. Zeno of Tarsus was a renowned Stoic philosopher. Nestor of Tarsus was a Stoic tutor to the Emperor Tiberius. Saul of Tarsus may very well have been quite familiar with this philosophy schools of that capital city of Cilicia. When Paul makes his defense to the Roman guards as he proclaims his heritage, he includes his birthplace, the great city of Tarsus. They would immediately have understood that Paul is a Roman citizen and thereby afforded all the rights and privileges of his citizenship. At other times, Paul speaks of his heritage to the Jews and does not need to use the prestigious Roman citizenship card of Tarsus to his advantage. When we read 2 Corinthians 11:22, Romans 11:1, and Philippians 3, verses 4 through 6, Paul refers to his Jewish heritage to the Jews. As a Roman citizen, Paul would use this privilege on two significant occasions. In Acts chapter 16, we read, beginning in verse 36, "And the jailer reported these words to Paul, saying, 'The magistrates have sent to let you go. Therefore, come out now and go in peace.' But Paul said to them, 'They have beaten us publicly, uncondemned, men who are Roman citizens, and have thrown us into prison. And do they now throw us out secretly? No, let them come themselves and take us out.' The police reported these words to the magistrates, and they were afraid when they heard that they were Roman citizens." Again, he calls upon this privilege as he is about to be flogged in Jerusalem in our passage today in Acts chapter 22, verses 24 through 29. The tribune ordered him to be brought into the barracks, saying that he should be examined by flogging to find out why they were shouting against him like this. But when they had stretched him out for the whips, Paul said to the centurion who was standing by, "Is it lawful for you to flog a man who is a Roman citizen and uncondemned?" When the centurion heard this, he went to the tribune and said to him, "What are you about to do? For this man is a Roman citizen." So the tribune came to him and said, "Tell me, are you a Roman citizen?" And he said, "Yes." The tribune answered, "I bought this citizenship for a large sum." Paul said, "But I am a citizen by birth." So those who were about to examine him withdrew from him immediately. And the tribune also was afraid, for he realized that Paul was a Roman citizen and that he had bound him. As we go further into the study of the Apostle Paul, we gain a greater appreciation knowing where he came from and why he is able to use his birthplace as leverage at times, and also the knowledge he would have acquired in his cosmopolitan city when he reasons with the Epicurean and Stoic philosophers in Athens, and even quotes from their own authors. And one can easily see why God intended Paul to be his servant, as even Paul understood when he wrote in Galatians 1:15, "But when he who had set me apart before I was born and called me by his grace." One wonders if even today God sets us apart from the womb. And Lord willing, let's meet here again tomorrow and look at more of the life of the Apostle Paul.